Recording in progress.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this meeting of the Hayward City Council. And I'm going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. And I will ask our Councilmember Marquez, who is with us on Zoom, I believe. Yes, there she is, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance this evening.
Thank you, Mayor. Please stand. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated.
Thank you. Madam City Clerk, will you call the roll?
Yes, Madam Mayor, good evening. Councilmember Andrews.
Present.
Councilmember Lamnin.
Present.
Councilmember Marquez.
Present. Sorry about that.
Councilmember Salinas.
Present.
Councilmember Wahab.
Here.
Councilmember Cermeño.
Present and ready.
Thank you. Mayor Halliday.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay, that brings us to our closed session announcement. I'm going to ask our city attorney, Mr. Lawson, to please give us the announcement from this evening's closed session.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The closed session was convened at 5:15 p.m. pursuant to posted notice. With all members present and no public speakers, the council discussed the following matters. 1, the council discussed the Route 238 disposition of parcel group 8 and took no reportable action. 2, council discussed a matter involving a potential security threat to the city's IT network. The council took no reportable action. And finally, the council discussed pending litigation in the matter of Stoddard Nunez versus the city of Hayward, and the council took no reportable action. The closed session adjourned at 6:25 p.m. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Okay, and now that brings us to some special presentations this evening. And so I'm going to go ahead and read the first proclamation that we have to present this evening, and that is regarding Elder Abuse Awareness Month. So, just give me a second here to find, yes. All right, so, whereas, although the elder population is the largest growing segment in the country, elder abuse is historically one of the most underreported crimes in the United States. And whereas victims of elder abuse include both men and women of diverse educational, socioeconomic, or ethnic backgrounds who have been victimized by strangers and or by persons they know who may occupy a position of trust. Whereas over 2 years after the 2020 coronavirus pandemic became a concern in the United States, it continues to impact everyone, especially elders, by making fragile living situations more stressful, thereby putting elders more at risk for their physical safety and well-being, making reporting suspected elder abuse, neglect, and financial exploitation more difficult, as well as giving those who commit scams an opportunity to morph existing scams, as well as create new scams to prey upon the concerns and fears of vulnerable members of society in order to obtain their money and property. And whereas Alameda County, through the District Attorney's Office, the Social Services Agency, Adult Protective Services, and Ombudsman Services of Alameda County, also known as Empowered Aging, provides a network of services to elders who are in danger of becoming or who have become victims of abuse, and responds to reports from all sectors about elders who may be physically or financially abused, neglected, or exploited. And whereas the City of Hayward Police Department and other city staff partner with Alameda County and nonprofit agencies throughout the community to hold community workshops and to promote crime prevention awareness, assist with local services for elders, and gather data and evidence to support the prosecution of cases involving elder abuse, neglect, and exploitation. And whereas the Hayward Senior Center provides a comprehensive array of services, as well as social and recreational programs to meet the needs of the elder population, thereby enhancing their quality of life and helping them to remain active, healthy, safer, and independent. Whereas the City of Hayward recognizes that both the awareness of elder abuse, neglect, and financial exploitation, as well as reporting instances of suspected elder abuse, particularly in this stressful time of ongoing global pandemic, will help keep our elders and communities safer. Now, therefore, I, Barbara Halliday, Mayor of the City of Hayward, and on behalf of the City Council, do hereby proclaim June 2022 as Elder Abuse Awareness Month and June 15th, 2022 as Elder Abuse Awareness Day in the City of Hayward, in recognition of our valued elders who have the right to live safely and securely in our community, to know they have services and support when they need them. And so this is a very important thing that we are doing. We do each year to remind people to take care of your elderly loved ones and watch out for them, because in this day of so much technology advance that many elders are trying to keep up with, myself included, but sometimes don't quite know whether to respond to an email, or we get training here at the city about the different ways, insidious ways that people try to get into your systems and then get information to use against you or to abuse you. And this can happen to people, I think, especially in this day and age. It's always been a problem, but it's very important that we do this every year and that we recognize this month and this day to remind people to watch out. And so we are fortunate to have with us this evening Cheryl Poncini, who is a Deputy District Attorney with the Alameda County District Attorney's Office Elder Protection Unit, and I believe also on Zoom we have, do we have Chris Chin? Yes, we have Deputy District Attorney Chris Chin, also from the District Attorney's Office Elder Protection Unit. Vince Gordon, is Vince Gordon online here? Yes, they're there, okay. And Maria Palazzolo. Yes, there she is. So they are on Zoom. Hopefully you can see them up there. And I will come down and present this proclamation to you. And we do have two. Are we giving them both to you so you can take them back? Okay. And you can, well, I'll present them and we'll take pictures and then you can speak. So.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. Oh. Let's come down. And then we can get our other council members.
Where would you like me to go? Okay, that's fine.
So that's where, okay. Let's do it over this way. Yeah. Is there a way to get the Zoom?
Photos? There they are.
Okay,
Okay.
great.
Where's the other one?
Prove that they're really
Yeah, yeah. I guess I can.
I know we already said good evening, but I'm going to say it one more time. Good evening, Madam Mayor
You
and
know, you
members.
might just pull that mask down so that people can, yeah, because
There we
it's hard to hear through the, yeah.
So for a third time, good evening, Madam Mayor and members of the Hayward City Council and staff and the residents of the city of Hayward. For almost 10 years, I have requested the issuance of a proclamation recognizing June as Elder Abuse Awareness Month in Hayward. And each year, the Hayward City Council has issued such a proclamation. I made the request to shine a spotlight on elder abuse, neglect, and financial exploitation because, unfortunately, they exist. Further, in the past 2+ years, the opportunities created by COVID for fraudsters and abusers to further victimize seniors is real. The keys to reducing abuse include 1, collaboration amongst agencies, including law enforcement, the DA's office, APS, the Ombudsman's office, nonprofits which serve seniors, and the community. We have seen how working together works to make a positive difference in the life of a senior. 2, another key is across-the-board education for seniors, community members, and professionals in every field. It is important that it be universally understood that abuse, neglect, and exploitation exist, that this is not acceptable. What elder abuse, neglect, and financial exploitation look like? What are the warning signs? What resources are available to seniors? And how are those resources to be accessed? Reminding the community that the issue of elder mistreatment still exists is important. The issuance of proclamations helps to shine a needed spotlight on the issue. Thank you for issuing this proclamation. And now, Madam Mayor, I believe that Vince Gordon, who's a supervisor with Adult Protective Services, would like to make a few remarks.
Okay?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, Barbara Halliday, City Council members, and the residents of Hayward for this proclamation in honor of June, which is Elder Abuse Awareness Month. Adult Protective Services and the District Attorney's Office are honored to be here to bring attention to elder abuse prevention and to be recognized by your council. Throughout the year, we actively combat elder abuse by providing services to our at-risk clients and through our efforts at the county and state level to identify additional resources to aid in this fight. The support of our city governments is paramount for this endeavor, and we appreciate your support, not only in June, but throughout the year. We also want to thank the Hayward Police and Fire Departments for their conscientious reporting to APS and their collaboration with APS in addressing the health and safety needs of elders in the city of Hayward. Thank you.
Thank you. Did either of your other colleagues, okay?
Yes. Maria Palazzolo from Legal Assistance for Seniors would like to speak. Maria?
Okay. Ms. Palazzolo.
Hi, as you mentioned, my name is Maria Palazzolo. I am an elder abuse attorney for Legal Assistance for Seniors, providing community education, programs, legal support, and legal representation to seniors and dependent adults in Alameda County. This proclamation recognizes the significance of elder abuse in our community, and Legal Assistance for Seniors joins with you to bring awareness and provide remedies for those experiencing elder or dependent adult abuse. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. And Chris, Deputy DA Chris Chen. Chris, did you want to add anything?
Yes, thank you. Mayor, council members, and the residents of Hayward. It is the elders, the aged community who in their primes, and even today, they were the ones to stand up and have the courage and conviction to make the change to make the change to make society better. And they were the ones who made that effort. And I feel that as part of the elder abuse protection team, it is our duty to be able to protect them because we bear the fruits of their efforts today. So I do want to say thank you very much for this proclamation, and that thank you for partnering with our office to prosecute elder abuse to the full extent of the law.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you, members of the City Council and your staff. And once again, we really appreciate the spotlight you're putting on this issue. Thank you.
Well, I know I speak for all my colleagues in saying we also very much appreciate the work that your office does, and it takes a team to really fight this thing, so I hope that we can continue to work together to do that.
Thank you.
Oh, Councilmember Zermeño has something to say.
Thank you very much to you and your team. And this is a good day to encourage everybody to visit their neighbors, especially elder neighbors. Every day, do they need anything? Do they need some groceries, the grass cut? Do they need anything at all? So it's not just a month, so it's a yearly, daily event. So out there, residents, please do your elder neighbors a friend and offer them a hand. So thanks again.
It is truly a 24/7, 365 responsibility. And one of the supervisors at APS, I've heard her say this often, and that is, if you suspect that there's a problem, report it. Better to report and be wrong than not to report and be right. Because the elder may have no one else who can help them or who can make sure that the things are okay. You certainly do not have to be in a position to prove it, but if you suspect something, contact local law enforcement, especially if there's a life-threatening issue. Call 911, or in the alternative, if it's not a life-threatening issue, call local APS. Every county in California is required to have an Adult Protective Services division.
Right. Because, you know, we are here because of our elders. If it were not for them, we wouldn't be here.
Very well said.
All right, thank you. Member Zermeño?
All right, well, thank you all again. And moving on, we have another proclamation this evening. And because I read the other one, I'm going to ask our Mayor Pro Tem, Lamnan, to read this one. And this is for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, questioning, queer, intersex, two-spirit, and gender nonconforming Pride Month.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. It's my honor to read this proclamation. Whereas the City of Hayward has a diverse lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, questioning, queer, intersex, and two-spirit, otherwise known as LGBTQ+, and also gender nonconforming community, and is committed to supporting visibility, dignity, and equity for all people in the community. And whereas Hayward has been a welcoming community for the LGBTQ+ residents, businesses, and organizations that make our community great for decades, with many community leaders who are openly LGBTQ+. And whereas Hayward has been home to the gay queer youth prom for more than 25 years and was one of the first to hold such an event in the United States. And whereas the rainbow pride flag is an important symbol in recognizing and celebrating our diverse Hayward. And whereas on May 28th, 2019, Hayward acknowledged its commitment to be an inclusive, equitable, and compassionate community by resolving to fly the rainbow pride flag throughout every June in honor of Gay Pride Month in the City Hall Plaza, right downstairs. Now, therefore, Barbara Halliday, the mayor of the City of Hayward, on behalf of all of us on City Council, does hereby proclaim the month of June as LGBTQ+ Pride Month in the City of Hayward, and invites everyone to reflect on the ways we can all live and work together with a commitment to mutual respect and understanding as we again fly the pride flag throughout the month of June.
So, and We have here in the chambers this evening with us to accept this, we have Robert Lopez, Prevention Specialist with Project Eden, and Rochelle Collins, who is the Program Director for Project Eden and Project Eden East County. So if you'll come forward, we can present this to you. And again, let's all go down there and get our colleagues on the Zoom up there. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed one of you.
Oh.
Didn't have the name. Here.
Hello there, Robert. Hello. How are you? Good to see you again. Yeah. Oh, yes. Fine. Smile.
Got it for the photos? Good. Invite you to take yours if you would.
Mayor Holliday, council members of Hayward City Council, and the community residents of the city of Hayward, I being one of them. I'd like to thank the continuing support that the city of Hayward has provided for Project Eden, a program of Horizon Services Lambda Youth Project over the years. Our organization began the Lambda Youth Group in 1992 as a means of addressing the issue of our LGBT youth and the stigma and the prejudice that they were receiving in the city and also in the schools. And so we're fortunate enough to have tonight with us one of our members from Brinkwitz Continuation School, Venus Rivera, who's one of our supporters and who receives services from us from Project Eden. Although we've continued to provide services, the question of do we need to continue to provide these services? Do we need to continue to provide space for our LGBTQ youth? And the answer is yes. If not, I wouldn't be meeting with them once a week at the 3 high schools here in Hayward. And also, their concerns with current legislations in the United States in regards to their civil rights. And so we want to thank you for acknowledging this day and also this month as June Pride Month. And we look forward to the raising of the progressive pride flag tomorrow at noon. And I know folks from of our supporters in our interfaith community are also watching and also have been supportive over the years. And so I'll have Rochelle give us also some remarks.
Great. Good evening, Mayor, City Council, staff. Yes, Robert spoke of the importance of this day, this month, but it's beyond just this day. I think, Zermaino, you said earlier with the elderly abuse, it's beyond just a day, it's beyond just a month. This is something 365 year around that we need to be respectful, acceptant, and prideful for this community. And this community is part of Hayward. And so they're not separate, like a separate community of Hayward. They are residents and citizens of Hayward. And it's just important for us to acknowledge that. And I want to thank you on behalf of the youth. And we historically have done gay prom. Unfortunately, during the pandemic, we were unable to do gay prom, but we're looking forward to June of 2023 to bring gay prom back to Chabot. So that's something exciting to look forward to. But hopefully this year we'll be able to do a pride picnic because the young people have greatly been asking, how do we get together? How do we celebrate and acknowledge who we are, and how do we bring our allies and our supporters together? So I want to put that out there, save the date to look forward to something coming from Project Eden and the Lambda Youth Project. And thank you again on behalf of our youth.
Thank you. I just want to say that Mr. Robert have helped me for like a month, and he been giving me like ideas, what should I do, and I just want to say thank you.
Thank you all for being here, and thanks for reminding us again, right, tomorrow noon, City Hall Plaza, flag raising.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, so with our presentations out of the way, that brings us to public comments this evening. This is your opportunity to speak on any items not otherwise on our agenda, and I think that we actually do have some very special guests in our audience today. And one of them, I think, has asked to speak, but these are special guests from the city of Arandas, and I want to thank Councilmember Zermeño for helping to host them this week and show them around, and I know we've been very glad to have you here, so I'll call Juana,
Juana Gonzalez.
Juana Gonzalez. First, would you like to, yes, come right on up, one of our visitors from the city of Arandas, Mexico.
And I will be her interpreter. Good evening.
Yes, thank you.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening.
Buenas tardes. La alcaldesa de la ciudad de Arandas les manda un mensaje.
Good evening, Mayor Holiday and City Council members. We have a message on behalf of our mayor from Arandas, Jalisco.
¿Es el video,
And now we're ready to show the video.
Hola, quiero agradecer la invitación a la alcaldesa Bárbara y al señor Cermeño por la invitación que nos dieron aquí a Arandas, sobre todo al Comité de Ciudades Hermanas, que iban en mi representación. Y bueno, yo por cuestiones de trabajo no pude ir. Les agradezco de todo corazón. Ustedes tienen aquí las puertas abiertas cuando gusten venir y aquí los vamos a recibir. Muchísimas gracias.
Agradezco a la alcaldesa Bárbara el recibimiento en esta hermosa ciudad de Hayward, California, así como a todos los presentes su cálido recibimiento. Les extiendo un afectuoso saludo de parte de la alcaldesa de la ciudad de Arandas, Ana Isabel Bañuelos Ramírez, ya que por cuestiones de agenda no fue posible acompañarnos, pero está muy entusiasmada porque esta reunión tendrá muchos productividad.
Good evening again, Mayor Holiday and City Council members. We want to thank the Mayor, Barbara Holiday, for welcoming us to this beautiful city of Hayward, California, as well as all the others who are present, and for the warm welcome. I also like to extend an affectionate greeting from the Mayor of Arandas, Jalisco, Mexico, Anabel Isabel Bañuelos, who due to scheduling issues was unable to join us, but is very enthusiastic about this sisterhood.
Hoy hemos venido a formalizar el hermanamiento que por varios años hemos tenido, gracias a la disposición de ambos gobiernos. Resaltar que en este largo recorrido muchas personas de Arandas y de Hayward se han esforzado para que estas sean ciudades hermanas. Es por ello que quiero reconocer al señor Francisco Cermeño la labor que ha hecho hacia nuestro municipio. Una parte de su corazón está constantemente en Arandas, señor Cermeño.
Today we come to formalize the sisterhood that has been several years in the making. Thank you to the willingness of both local governments, many people who have worked tirelessly in Arandas and in Hayward to make this sisterhood possible. And I want to recognize the hard work of Councilmember Francisco Cermeño, who we recognize his support, and also together with the mayor, Barbara Holliday, and the council, who has also always supported our municipality.
Este hermanamiento es un intercambio social y cultural de ayuda mutua entre ambos municipios, ya que en esta ciudad también se cuenta con un gran número de arandenses que forman parte de esta hermosa comunidad. Es por ello que quiero agradecer a la ciudad de Hayward, a la alcaldesa Bárbara y al señor Cermeño el recibimiento y decirles que Arandas es su casa hoy y siempre. Muchas gracias.
This mutual social and cultural exchange help us to grow, create a strong cultural partnership. Since in this city there are also a large number of Arandenses, me included, and my family here present, who are part of this beautiful community. And this is why we thank you again, and we reiterate our gratitude, and we tell you that Arandas is your home today and always. Again, from the bottom of our hearts, gracias, thank you.
Wonderful, thank you.
And also, if I can just take a few moments. Oh, yes, and also take a few moments to introduce our other guest here, and also on behalf of the guests here present and Arandas, they also have some gifts that they want to present to you all.
All right.
So,
Do you want to go ahead and introduce
yes,
your...
absolutely. So los voy a presentar antes de la obsequia de regalos. So I will begin with Luz Adriana Vivanco Gonzalez. She is one of the city council members, and she is responsible for the economic development. Again, in no particular order. Veronica Hernandez, another city council member of infrastructure. Juan Varela Jimenez, council member for health. Kenya Yolanda Davalos Vivanco, Director of Medical Services of the municipality. Giselle Morales Ramirez, Director of the Women's Institute. Miguel Angel Lopez Plasencia, he is Director of Civil Protection and the Fire Department of Arandas. And last but not least, and who just spoke, our City Treasurer of Arandas, Juana Gonzalez.
All right.
And so again, Mayor and City Council members present and online, on behalf of the City of Arandas in Jalisco, the state of Jalisco, and the country of, well, in Mexico, they're here to present these gifts on behalf of our guest here.
Shall we come down here?
Yes, please come down. A la alcaldesa. Okay. So this is a proclamation, Mayor from Arandas, and we want to, on behalf of the guests, as I mentioned, they want to gift this to you and for all the support. So thank you. Thank you. Oh, Thank you. Uno por uno, todos juntos, ¿no? Todos juntos. And these are the flags that represent our municipality, Arandas, Jalisco, the state of Jalisco, and of course, Mexico. So, thank you. And also, these are Arandas, is known for its tequila and its delicious candy, and so. They would like to gift this to you on behalf of, again, Arandas. Artisanal, yes. Thank you very much for that. So we hope you enjoy, Mayor. and the tequila.
Good photos, man. It's excellent. Where are you going to do all this
Oh. Oh. And I'm sorry, and more and books that can be included in your personal library collection or in our local library.
Yes, I think we are trying to get a section at our library for about our sister cities and other, good relations that we have. So yes, thank you. Those are great books too.
Yes.
Great, thank you.
The history of Arandas.
So.
Oh.
Oh my gosh.
And a lovely purse, Mayor. We hope you enjoy it. And that is for you.
Made in Arandas, Mayor.
Yes.
Beautiful, look at that work. Oh, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Also have some gifts for all of you. So I won't go into, actually, we have nothing comparable to what you have just given us, but but we have a few little things to remind you of the city. First, the bag itself, which you might need as travelers. There's a beautiful coffee mug and there's some surprises.
So estos son unos regalitos de parte de la ciudad de Hayward. Entonces, espera la alcaldesa que lo aprecien. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. Yes, it is. Can we get one last picture with the mayor and the council members? Yes, everyone, please. And yes. Thank you.
Grab that.
Oh, yeah, put that. Oh, good. Do you get, but is there anything, well, I wouldn't hold the tequila bottle up.
Acá enfrente. Y una sin cubrebocas, ¿no? Y sin cubrebocas. ¿Podemos? ¿Sí? ¿Podemos quitarnos?
Sure. I'm going to make that clean. The health department likes it a lot.
1, 2, 3. Another one. 1, 2, 3. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Wonderful to meet you all. And I hope we can have you while you're still here. Thank you.
Este es el cuadro que sellaría la hermandad, ¿no? Como el
So this is the one that solidifies the sisterhood. This is the one. We're sisters now.
I think that, yeah, I'm not sure what it all takes to be official, but I would.
There it is.
Gracias por recibirnos y por abrirnos su corazón. Open your heart for the city. Para nosotros es un aprendizaje muy grande lo que nos llevamos.
Yeah, it's a great privilege to be here. Thank you very much. It's a great learning experience for everyone. Excellent.
We will share these with our fellow council members too, and all of our residents, those books.
Yeah.
Very good.
Thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you for your services.
Oh, anytime, thank you, Mayor.
So, well, I realize that was a very long public comment there, but there were several of them here. So and yeah, again, thank you all. And we just wish you a wonderful rest of your stay here in our city, and that you can take some good ideas back to Arandas from your, further investigations. And we hope to see you down in Arandas one of these days too. Okay, so that is, so we do have a speaker.
Yes, Mayor, I believe she was here. She probably left already.
Patricia?
Yes, she was here, but I don't think she's in the chambers. She probably.
Oh, all right. So okay. So the speaker who had signed up does not want to speak now. Okay. So is there anyone else who would like to make a public comment this evening? I don't see anyone here, either here in the chambers coming forward or among our attendees. So confirm that, yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and close public comments. And we will now move on to comments from our city manager. Our city manager, Ms. McAdoo, is not with us this evening, but we have our assistant city manager, Regina Youngblood, who's here. And do you have any comments for us this evening?
Good evening. No city manager comments this evening.
No? Oh, okay. All right. Well, we look forward to having her back, and we thank you for being here and covering for her this evening. All right, so that moves us on to our action items, starting with our consent calendar, which is items 1 through 11 this evening. Is there any council member, I'll ask first, council member who would like to pull any of these items off of the consent calendar? Not seeing anyone here or anyone on Zoom. So with that, I'll entertain a motion to approve items 1 through 11. That's right. Moved by Councilmember Zermeño.
I'll second Mayor Marquez.
Seconded by Councilmember Marquez. No comments. So on the motion, on the motion by Councilmember Zermeño, seconded by Councilmember Marquez. Madam City Clerk, will you call the roll?
Yes, Madam Mayor. Councilmember Andrews.
Aye.
Councilmember Lamnin.
Aye.
Councilmember Marquez.
Aye.
Councilmember Salinas.
Yes.
Councilmember Wahab.
Yes.
Councilmember Zermeño.
Yes.
Mayor Halliday.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, well, now we're really moving along here. So we've come to item number 12, which is the annual adoption of the appropriations limit for fiscal year 2023 under the GAN appropriations limit bill of legislation, whatever that was, constitutional requirement of the state of California. And we're going to hear, he must be on Zoom, yes, there he is, who can probably explain it better than I can. So our finance director, Mr. Clausen.
I'm here, Mayor, and I will actually be kicking it over to Deputy Director of Finance, Nicole Gonzalez, to present this evening. But it is our annual, I think the most confusing, at least the most confusing title. I think it's not nearly as confusing once we get to the explanation, but I know they do their best to make us all confused annually when we have to come and bring the appropriations limit. So I will start presenting and allow Nicole to speak to the matter here. Oh, I guess it would help if I share.
Sharing her screen, right?
I'm trying to share. Well, I was not correctly sharing my screen. So here we go. All right, can you all see my screen?
Yes, we can hear, so.
Nicole, go ahead, take us away.
All right, thank you. Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council. As Director Clausen stated, this evening will be a very brief presentation on the City of Hayward's 2023 GAN appropriation limits. Next slide. So this item before you this evening is a request to adopt the fiscal year 2023 GAN limit appropriations limit. Essentially, it's a limit that sets the ceiling for the amount of revenue that the city can collect from proceeds of taxes. The city has never reached this limit, and so the city has never had to place a limit on its revenues classified as tax proceeds. Next slide. So this is a table here which shows kind of the last 10, 11 years of the city's adopted GAN appropriations. The fiscal year 2023 GAN appropriation limit is just slightly under 386 million. While we would love to come close to reaching that limit, we are nowhere near that limit. You know, if we were close to that limit, it would obviously significantly change and impact the city's financial picture, given an increase in the tax proceeds. But that is not the case. And such, the city won't have to be required to set any limitations on its revenue. So again, this is just kind of a depiction of the projected fiscal year 2023 GAN appropriation limit. Again, that's just short of $386 million. Next slide. So essentially, as Director Clausen stated, it's really a formality that we go through each year, that we request that the City Council adopt a resolution establishing the GAN limitation for fiscal year 2023. And with that, I am happy to answer any questions. I know that Director Clausen is also available to answer questions.
All right. Are there any questions from council members? I'm not seeing any hands going up here. I'm going to open public comment on this item, and I do think we have someone who wants to speak. Okay, correct? Okay. And so, Happy Gill.
I'm unmuted. Hello. Hi, Happy Gill here. Good evening. I am, first of all, I'm glad I'm attending tonight. And my specific question is really just for the GAN limit. As a citizen, and a former investment banker, I'm just thinking, why do we have a limit, and how does the city, I see a few shops in the business district in downtown that have closed down and shut down. And are we able to use any of these funds, or is the city able to sort of invest if you are able to, in your capacity, towards the businesses that are in need of money and developing further towards Tennyson and South Hayward BART? Yeah, I don't doubt that would keep the revenue, and I think our bridge is doing an amazing job, and the corporations are doing an amazing job, and the bonds are doing amazing as well. But I'm just curious, since before we establish this limit, how does this impact the next decade? Thank you.
All right, thank you for your comment. We don't generally respond. I'm not sure that there was a question there, but just more some advice to us. Director, what? Yeah, Mr. Clausen, did you have anything you wanted to say in response?
Sure. You know, the limit is in place really. So the law was established to limit agencies' ability to sort of overtax its constituents. We've got a situation with the state of California, actually, that the state is going to run up against its GAN limit. And if they do that, it's state law, so they'll be going up against their own state law. So there will be steps that they have to take to essentially turn those funds back to the community in ways that they weren't previously intending to do, and then adjust moving forward so that they don't continuously and perpetually go above that limit.
And I think if the question was about why we aren't spending the money, all the money that we could, the GAN limit doesn't really have anything to do with how much money we actually have. And we need to spend within the limits of what we are collecting in tax revenue. And that you'll see in the next item here what those numbers are and how we handle our budget. But my understanding is the GAN limit is based on progressive increases starting in the base year when it was first established, and it really doesn't have much to do with how much money the city of Hayward actually has to spend. But stay tuned for the next item on the budget, and I think you'll see more about what we're doing. And I also just would add that we have used both our own money and money that we received from the federal government, from the American Rescue Plan Act, to help businesses in our community. So, and to help residents in our community as well. So, to the extent that I understood your question, hopefully we have answered it. And with that, is there anyone else who would like to make a public comment? There's no one in the chambers, and I don't see any other hands raised among attendees. So I'm going to close public comment and entertain a motion. Okay, so Council Member, Mayor, okay. Moved by Mayor Pro Tem Lamnon, who is also a member of our Budget and Finance Committee, and seconded by Council Member Zermeño. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, Madam City Clerk, you please call the roll on this motion to approve the staff recommendation on the GAN limit.
Yes, Madam Mayor. Councilmember Andrews.
Aye.
Councilmember Lamnon.
Aye.
Councilmember Marquez.
Aye.
Councilmember Salinas.
Yes.
Councilmember Wahab.
Yes.
Councilmember Cermeño.
Yes.
Mayor Halliday.
Yes, and the motion passes with 7 aye votes. And that brings us to item number 13 on our agenda this evening, which is the fiscal year 2023 budget and capital improvement program. We will be holding a public hearing on the budget and capital improvement program budget, and hopefully adopting it, and perhaps directing staff in relation to it. But this, and I'll just mention, this covers both the proposed fiscal year 2023 operating budgets for the City of Hayward, the Hayward Redevelopment Successor Agency, and Hayward Housing Authority, the fiscal year 2023 capital improvement program budget, and it will be adoption of these budgets and appropriations for fiscal year 2023 for all of these different facets of the city government. And we will again hear from our finance director, Mr. Clausen. And I just want to say before he starts that I know we all very much appreciate the work that you and your staff, Deputy Finance Director Gonzalez as well, have put into putting this budget together again this year and presenting it to us. And it's actually a pretty good budget with some good numbers, I think, for us. So, Mr. Clausen, take it away.
I agree, Mayor. Thank you. I appreciate being here tonight to present this. This has been a great effort for the department, city council, and the city as a whole. I will, once again, get out of the way and let Nicole present. But before I do, I just want to thank council for the hard work that's gone in this and every budget cycle. The feedback that we received was paramount in trying to put together this budget, as well as the city's fiscal planning for the next few years. Always something that we look forward to, and we will continue to work hard to secure the city's fiscal future. So without further ado, Nicole, I will share my screen for you. All right, there we go.
Perfect, thank you. Well, good evening, Mayor, members of City Council. We are here this evening to hold the public hearing for the fiscal year 2023 proposed operating and CIP budgets, with the hope of adoption at the close of the meeting tonight as well. Next slide. So this is just a quick chart that kind of shows where we've been over the last several months. We really start the budget process back in January and February. Certainly a lot of work has occurred over the last several months ahead of preparing and presenting council with the fiscal year 2023 proposed budget documents, which occurred in April. Following the publication of those budget documents, the city held a Saturday work session on May 14th, followed by a second work session and presentation of the capital improvement program budget on May 17th. And then we are here tonight for the public hearing and consideration for adoption of, again, both the fiscal year 2023 operating and CIP budget. So this is just a summary of the fiscal year 2023 budget expenditures. We're asking this evening for the appropriation and expenditure authority for all city operating funds in the amount of $401,304,539. Of that amount, we're asking for appropriation of $194,688,033 in the general fund. We're also proposing a total CIP budget appropriation of $118,122,302. This is a full summarization of all city funds held within the city, including the agency funds that you see here kind of in the middle of the table, which the city acts as fiduciaries for. Next slide. So this table here provides an overview of a couple of things, changes that occurred and being presented tonight compared to what was proposed in the budget document presented to council at the end of April. And then we also compare the change year over year to the fiscal year 2022 budget. So since the time of the fiscal year 23 proposed budget as it was presented in April, there have been some changes, which will be noted in more detail in the next slide or two. But just looking here at the change, there's a change of $702,000 in the general fund and a change of about $1.6 million on all other funds, for a total change to the operating funds of $2.3 million over what was presented to council on April 28th. Also, we see a significant change in year over year from fiscal year 22 adopted. As the fiscal year 2023 proposed does include significant increases in the enterprise funds and also reflects appropriations related to projects funded by the American Rescue Plan Act. And that accounts for about $16.5 million, which is shown in that all other funds line item. Additionally, in that line item, the city is including a request to transfer funds from Measure C operating to Measure C capital for the continued support for the Regional Fire Training Center project. Next slide. So here's kind of a more detailed list of the proposed revisions as they were presented to council again at the end of April. The general fund includes a net increase of $25,000 in internal service funds related to services provided to the fleet management fund, restoration of some program reductions in the public works and utility department. So there's an increase of $60,000. The library strategic plan is an increase of $75,000. An increase of $116,480 for security services at both the main library and the Weeks Branch Library. There were some personnel reclassifications in the police department, which will result in an increase of $41,268. Also, item 6, we will be transferring from the general fund to a newly created fund, the Cannabis Community Fund, which will include the 1/7 of the cannabis tax collected in fiscal year 2020 and 2021. And so that increase amounts to $63,552. The last change in the general fund was discussed as part of the Saturday work session by our city attorney. The city will be experiencing a significant increase in its insurance premium expenses. So the general fund allocation will result in an increase of $320,270. The all other funds, the larger piece representing the change is an increase in $1 million. Essentially, we are requesting an appropriation of ARPA funds in year 2 rather than year 3, as outlined in the federal stimulus expenditure plan. And that's to support the tax defaulted foreclosure property program. Also, the city received its CDBG Entitlement Award for program income, which is an increase of $366 and $212. A minor request of $5,000 for financial services for the redevelopment successor agency. And then the city did receive notification that its membership fee for the Bay Area Water Supply and Conservation Agency will be increased in fiscal year 2023. So there is an increase to the water fund of $101,621. And that last item under the all other funds is a transfer out across various operating funds to the risk management fund for the projected increase in insurance premiums that the city attorney covered during the Saturday work session. Okay, next slide. So this is an update to the city's general fund 5-year forecast. You will note at the second line from the bottom, we did account for the American Rescue Plan Act transfer to the general fund kind of separately, just to be very clear that it is a one-time transfer to intended to help the city replace lost revenue during the COVID-19 pandemic. So without the one-time revenue, we're looking at a use of reserves in 2023 of about 2.8. However, when you do take into consideration the American Rescue Plan Act transfer into the general fund, we're looking at building the general fund reserves by a net increase of about 4.5 million, which will bring the ending balance to 43.8 million. We do see a continued use of reserves in out years. You can see that kind of more middle of the line in year 24, 25, 26, and 27. Clearly, we'll continue to put in work to reduce those projected use of reserves in future years. This is obviously a very important piece to ensure that the city can continue to remain financially stable and provide the services to the city of Hayward and its community members. Next slide. So this is a depiction of the city's general fund revenue by source. As you can see here, property tax remains the highest source of revenue within the city at 32.9%, followed by sales tax at about 23%, and then followed by utility users tax about 9.8%. And we'll continue to focus on ways to grow each of these different revenues as much as we can to help continue to provide services to the Hayward community. But this is kind of a depiction of our actual revenue that the city collects in fiscal year 2023. Next slide. This is a depiction of the city's general fund expenditure by category. Most notably here is the largest piece of the pie, which represents salaries and benefits, which makes up about 78.3% of the total pie. The smaller pieces account for transfers to other funds, supplies and services, internal service fees, and maintenance and utilities. So, this is not necessarily surprising or really unheard of, since the city of Hayward is a service organization. We provide services to the Hayward community. So this is not a surprise that the largest expense is related to salaries and benefits, excuse me. And this does align with other jurisdictions within our region, similar to the city of Hayward. Next slide. So kind of switch gears here. I'm going to move over now to the CIP budget. We have a recommended budget appropriation of $118 million for fiscal year 2023. Of the $118 million in recommended programming, you can see the largest categories include the livable neighborhood, sewer, and water system categories. They're shown here in red, blue, and green. The livable neighborhoods is the largest budget category and includes parks like La Vista and Lanier Park, buildings like the Stack Center, median landscape projects such as Tennyson and Jackson Corridor, traffic calming projects, pedestrian and bike improvements, sidewalk projects, as well as many other projects within the city of Hayward. Next slide. So similar, we have kind of a breakdown of the recommended programming for fiscal year 2023 CIP expenditures by fund. Of the 118 million in recommended programming, the largest allocation of recommended budget includes the General Capital Projects Fund, or Fund 405, which includes 33.5 million per the recommended CIP. And this fund supports projects, again, like the La Vista project, the South Hayward Youth and Family Center, and then followed by the second and third largest funds are the sewer and water system funds. And they support major projects such as water and sewer line replacements and the water pollution control facility nutrient management project. Next slide. So as stated at the beginning of the presentation, we're here to first conduct a public hearing and then answer any questions that the council may have, questions or comments. And then once the public hearing is closed, if at all possible, we would like to request that council consider adopting the fiscal year 2023 operating and CIP budgets this evening.
Okay, is that it?
That is it.
That is
And,
it. Okay.
Both myself and Dustin, Director Clausen is here to answer any questions you might have.
Okay, so I'll just say that this is the third, we've had 2 work sessions.
Right.
We've all read through this budget and had a lot of opportunity to ask questions and make, suggestions. So here is the culmination of that, and I will ask if at this point there are any questions. And yes, Councilmember Andrews.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, staff, for the presentation. And I wanted to just say, yes, this is like the third time we've seen this presentation, so I don't have many questions, but I did want to ask about sales tax and it being 23% of our revenue. Is that typical for a city of our size, just in comparison to other cities like us in the area?
It's really hard to sort of compare revenue source by revenue source, because the businesses in our community may not mirror a community that's very similar in size and maybe even location as we are. What I'll say is, yeah, it's pretty typical for communities like ours that have we have such a diverse business makeup in our local economy, so many different lines of industry. It's really a testament to the local businesses, the work that our economic development team does, and yeah, so it's not atypical for where we're at. It kind of just depends on the location and makeup of local businesses.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other questions? Councilmember Marquez.
I have lots of comments, Mayor, but I'll reserve them for later. The only question I have right now is how often does the Budget and Finance Committee receive updated figures with respect to property tax revenue and sales tax? Is that something that's provided on a quarterly basis, or how frequent are they reviewing that information?
It's probably not quite quarterly. I would say probably 3 times a year. We take a look at it in some way, shape, or form. It may be a little bit more frequently than that, depending on what items are coming to the Budget and Finance Committee. But generally, we try to get there with updates to key revenues at least twice a year, and they're going to see it again as part of the either mid-year budget or the fiscal year budget, those sorts of things.
Okay, and then to just kind of piggyback on the comments you made earlier with respect to economic development and just the variety of businesses we have in Hayward, how closely does our finance division work with economic development when we're kind of analyzing zoning matters, conditional use permits, just looking at what type of businesses to bring into Hayward. Is there a component where we're looking at the economic outlook and viability of that business and what it will mean to bringing in more revenue?
So what I'll say is that the majority of that work falls to the economic development team and our development services team as well. Certainly finance will do any analysis that we're looking for, to try to help to provide some of that information. But a lot of that they're doing on their, in their world, and then, working with the businesses to try to make sure that they are, successful if they do in fact invest in the community.
Okay. And I know we've updated our strategic roadmap, and there's been some discussion with respect to staffing levels. So at what point do you think we'll start taking a deeper look at in terms of vacancy rate, just kind of analyzing where we're at as an organization? Can you speak to that briefly?
I mean, we are actively trying to reduce the number of vacancies across the city. Our human resources department is not immune to those same challenges, and so that sort of creates a ripple effect across the organization. But we are working to hire we're not holding any vacancies the same way that we were, say at the start of the pandemic when we were trying to achieve some salary savings. We're not doing that anymore. So we are looking to actively hire and staff up. And I think once we get closer to that, we'll have a better idea of if we have the appropriate number of employees to provide the service that we expect to offer to the community and the community expects to be offered by us.
Okay, thank you for that. My last question is just for educational purposes for members of the public that may not be familiar with this process. Can you briefly speak to the role of our state and federal lobbyists in terms of looking at additional dollars to bring into the city? Can you touch on that a little bit, please?
Sure. We're certainly always working with those partners to try to see what funding is potentially out there that could benefit the community, that could benefit the organization to be able to help us to offer additional services or a program that doesn't exist or that we're trying to supplement. We're working with them sort of perpetually throughout the year on a very, very regular basis. We're also going to be bringing an item later this month to bring council up to speed on some of the items that they're looking at, they're working on, and hoping to get some direction on how we'd like to try to get them to work on our behalf in trying to influence the state's budget here in the next few weeks.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm not seeing any other hands raised from council members. So now I'm going to open the public hearing on the fiscal year 2023 budget and capital improvement budget, and ask if there are any members of the public who would like to speak. I see no one here in the council chambers at all, let alone who would like to speak at this point. And I do not see any hands raised, correct, Madam City Clerk, from the public. So we'll give it 1, 2, 3. Okay, gone. And I will close the public hearing on this budget and entertain a motion from council and any comments anyone would like to make. And we do. Some council members Arminio.
Mayor, thank you. I will let my colleagues on the budget committee make the motion, but I just really have a comment to Dustin and to Nicole for an excellent job, excellent presentation. Everything we're in good shape, and from what I see, even the next 5 years, we're not that bad. So I think that the planning that all of my colleagues, you and I, and the planning that staff has done has been great, and let's keep up a good work. So thank you.
Thank you. And Councilmember Wahab.
Yeah, I'll move the item.
All right. Is there a second? I'll second. and seconded by Councilmember Lamnin. So that is Councilmember Wahab, a member of our Budget and Finance Committee, and making the motion, and Councilmember Lamnin seconding it. I make up the third member of the Budget Committee. Councilmember Marquez?
Thank you, Mayor. I'll be brief. I just wanted to thank staff. You all have done a phenomenal job with updating this budget, hearing us out on the work session items. I'm just very impressed. I think every year this document is a lot more easier to read, and just really excited about the financial position we're in, and just optimistic about our future. And just want to thank all of our employees as well for their hard work in making our organization provide such excellent service to the community. So just thank you all for your wonderful work. And please continue to spend your money in Hayward. Thanks.
Thank you. I will certainly echo those comments, and the physical presentation of the budget is always, it's a very readable document, and I know it sounds like a horrible thing to have to read, but if you have a chance as a member of the public and are interested, it really does have a lot of just basic readable information about what's being done in our various city departments, and it reflects a whole lot of good work being done throughout our entire organization. And yes, the bottom line this year is very encouraging, much, more so than it's been in a number of years. And that speaks to a lot of things. For one, I think we all have to thank the federal government for the American Rescue Plan Act, which we have received money during this and the past fiscal year to, there are restrictions on how to use that money, and much of it has gone to simply pay ourselves back for money that we put out to help our residents and our businesses get through the pandemic, to help our organization get through the pandemic. I think we had an item on our consent calendar tonight about tests, the costs of tests. Yeah, so, right, that we will be able to reimburse with the use of the ARPA money. But that's only part of what we're looking at here. We are also looking at some policies that this council created and stuck to see that our reserves were being built, and goals that we had set, which we really right now are achieving in terms of the amount of reserve fund we would like to have compared to the totality of our general fund budget. And it is nice to see those numbers. And the other element, which a lot of our money, as Mr. Clausen and Ms. Gonzalez pointed out, goes to, paying our employees who provide the services that we bring to the public, not only their salaries, but their post-employment benefits. And those costs continue to rise. But we have taken some measures to ensure that we are being prudent about trying to pay those costs down and save as much money we can in doing that by timing the payments in a certain way, and just trying to put any excess revenues that we find ourselves with to those items, our long-term liabilities, as we call them, and our reserve fund. So I think it demonstrates a lot of good work on the part of all of us, but I especially tonight thank Mr. Clausen and Ms. Gonzalez and their staff for putting the budget together, shepherding it through. We don't have a lot of we generally don't have a lot of public interest in the budget. We have a lot of public interest in the things that we do with the money in this budget, but I'm glad to see that it doesn't seem like the public is upset in any way with how we're budgeting our money each year. So with that, on the motion by Council Member, remind me. It was
me. It was Councilmember
I'm sorry,
Wahab.
Councilmember Wahab. Councilmember Wahab made the motion. Councilmember Lamnin, seconded it. And so on that motion to approve the budget, Madam City Clerk, will you call the roll?
Yes, Madam Mayor. Councilmember Andrews.
Aye.
Councilmember Lamnin.
Aye.
Councilmember Marquez.
Aye.
Councilmember Salinas.
Yes.
Councilmember Wahab.
Yes.
Councilmember Cermeño.
See.
Mayor Halliday.
Yes. And the motion carries with 7 aye votes, and that completes our budget process for this year. Hooray, we're all glad to see that go by. And that brings us to the next item on our agenda, which is council reports and announcements. Councilmember Salinas.
Thank you. I wanted to make a couple of announcements. This summer, although the county has brought back the mask mandate for indoors, a lot of organizations around town are ramping up to do activities outdoors. And this year, after a 2-year absent because of the pandemic, we're bringing back the Words for Lunch program, and this is a collaboration between Hayward Promise Neighborhood, Hayward Public Library, the California State Library, Lunch and the Library, and the Kids Breakfast Club. And we will be distributing free lunch and doing reading activities for kids in Hayward at 2 sites. The first site will be at the Heritage Plaza, right across the street from the Hayward Public Library. And the second site will be at Mia's Dream Come True playground, the All Abilities playground over in South Hayward on the corner of Huntwood and Tennyson. And you can go there, you can get a free lunch. We're even distributing books to kids. And we're also looking for readers. So if you want to come on out, and I have 2 volunteers right here. And just keep an eye for, I don't know if you can see it, but just keep an eye for this flyer, either posted on social media or online. And so we'll start June 22nd, and we'll end July 22nd. But the week of 4th of July, programmings will be suspended for that week. And then one other program we're bringing back this summer is Fresh Food for Families, which will be, it's a partnership between the Hayward Promise Neighborhood and the Alameda County Community Food Bank. We'll be distributing shelf-secure foods and produce on, the dates they're from June, July, up until December. And if you visit the Hayward Promise website or the social media, and if you go to my social media, you'll see the flyer and so forth. So activities are coming back, and particularly programs for Hayward families are returning to fill some of the food insecurity needs and other health-related needs. Other than that, that's it. It's election night.
That's excellent news. Good to hear it. Thank you for your work in helping organize these programs. And I think at least 2 of us up here have been the first to volunteer here for We Love to Read to Kids. But it's very important. The nourishment of both the body and the mind is important, and you're accomplishing both. Okay, Councilmember Andrews.
Thank you, Mayor. I wanted to announce that there's going to be an event on June 11th at 11:30 on B Street between Foothill and Main. It's the Hope for Hank event. Come out and cheer on Hank the Tank Carpenter as he becomes an honorary Hayward firefighter for a day, and support him in his battle with neuroblastoma. All donations will go directly towards pediatric cancer research. So I just wanted to put that on everyone's radar. And also wanted to announce that I will be on a Super Saturday panel with BWAPA talking about the issues with Black maternal health in California unfortunately at 11 to 12:30 on Saturday as well. But if you would like to attend that, you can check on my Instagram. But those are 2 events that are on my radar this weekend.
Thank you. And the Hank the Tank one again is what time on Saturday?
At 11:30, June 11th, Saturday on B Street between Foothill and Main.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for that. Not seeing any other. Yes, go ahead, Councilmember Salinas.
I appreciate it. And because Rudy over at the Cobbler will get angry if I do not mention this, on Sunday, it's his annual anniversary car show and open house. And so that's where he has the whole parking lot, and he has show cars and motorcycles that come out. And the big attraction, of course, the cars and motorcycles, but it's free hot dogs. So come on down, grab a free hot dog, and that's on Sunday, June 12th.
All right.
All day.
I've
Thank you.
attended in the past, so thank you for reminding us. Okay. That brings us to, we do have another item on the agenda tonight, and that is item number 14, which is a city council referral. This is a request for use of council member funds for reimbursement related to Juneteenth Hayward event coordination. This referral is from council member Andrews and Marquez. Did either of you want to comment on this?
I can start, Mayor. Wanted to thank everyone for your support last year at Juneteenth. We are doing it again with a slightly different flavor this year. We are doing the same wellness festival, but we're going to be focusing on celebrating the Black women. So we will be having 3 fitness instructors. One is Trap Yoga Bay. We'll be doing trap yoga, as well as a dance hip hop workout, as well as a twerk out workout. So we're going to have a really good time. We're going to have DJs. We're going to have a wellness festival. We're going to have a lot of resources for the community. And we have a huge partnership with One Subaru, as well as East Bay Community Energy. We have a lot of partners this year. We also will be partnering with AIM, who runs Hayward Farmers Market, who will be having vendors as well. So we look forward to having everyone come out, and I'm requesting additional support out of my council member budget to use $1,000 for reimbursables, for supplies, for volunteers, purchases for such as water, snacks, anything related to marketing for the event. Any dollars can help make this event even more successful. We're hoping to have a larger reach this year. We do have free advertisement through BART and KBLX. So any additional dollars will help support as we are expecting additional attendance this year. So that is the basis for my request. And if Councilmember Marquez would like to add on, please do so.
Sure. Thank you, Councilmember Andrews, for your leadership on this item. It's going to be a historic event for Hayward. One of the things I'm most excited about is that this event is actually going to take place at Heritage Plaza. So it's going to be a wonderful opportunity to showcase our beautiful park, and just really excited to collaborate and bring another free family fun event to downtown Hayward. So hope that everyone can come and celebrate Juneteenth with us on Saturday, June 18th. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. And I know last year's event was really a wonderful event, and it was kind of a coming out for all of us after, being shut down for a year. So very, very festive, and I'm looking forward to this year's event as well. And I again, thank you for organizing it, and all the people, and for bringing this to us. I certainly can support. Would you like to, let's see, is there anyone, well, first of all, let me open the public hearing on this item. Or public comment on this item, and there's no one here in the chambers. I'm not seeing any hands raised among attendees. So I'll go ahead and close public comment on this item and go back to Councilmember Andrews for motion.
Yes, I would love to move this item.
I'm happy to second, Mayor Marquez.
All right, the item has been moved and seconded by Councilmember Andrews and Councilmember Marquez. Anyone wish to, yes, someone. Councilmember Lamnon.
Thank you, Mayor. So first I wanted to appreciate my colleagues, certainly Councilmember Andrews, who's really championed a number of community issues in your time on council, Juneteenth being just one of those, and appreciate that not only is the event happening and happening for the second time, but that it's really responsive to the needs of the community, as well as being a great time. So I do encourage people to come, and thank you, Councilmember Marquez, for your work on the event this year as well. So I am happy to support the motion in that, as I understand it, and our Assistant City Manager can correct me if I'm wrong, we do have unspent funds in the mayor and council budget because of not having participated in as many trainings this year. And so our specific training budget, well, other expenses maybe we want to talk about, but the actual training budget is underspent. And so, you know, I support the use of this funds. I think that makes sense. The two things I want to say about that, just kind of as a moving forward thing, is number one, that I can say that even though we've already allocated 5,000 of that in a referral a couple weeks ago, it still seems like we have enough to do this, so great. But what I urge us to do, and I'm not entirely sure how we go about this, in the past we've had an ad hoc committee, but I think it's time to reevaluate how we allocate those funds. You know, we looked at it and we said, no, we will only spend them for training. And this is the second time when we seem to be ready to maybe revisit that past decision as a council, and so I urge us to actually have the conversation and be strategic about it. We do have a new events funding process coming on. We talked about the last time needing to be, so I'm not looking for our funds to duplicate our grants process or our event process, but I do think that things do come up throughout the year where we might want to allocate these funds in a different way than we have. The past conversations also included thinking about supporting interns. So I just not making any other referrals or anything, just asking that we look at this item, look at how we spend our training dollars and what our parameters are in the coming months. Other than that, I'm happy to support the item.
Yeah, and it's a good suggestion, and I would suggest that it maybe start with the Budget and Finance Committee and
That sounds good.
to look at. Okay, so I'm going to go to
Yeah, go ahead.
Councilmember Marquez.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Councilmember Loudon, for your input. I would like to recommend that we bring up this item, revisit your concerns when we discuss the council handbook, which probably won't be until next year. But I think that is an appropriate time to revisit this as well, since it's come up a couple of times throughout this year. So I just wanted to note that for the record. I'm not saying that's the only path forward, but just wanted to put that out there as a suggestion. Thank you.
Okay,
That's a great
good
point.
idea
Thanks.
too. And Councilmember Salinas?
So just a point of clarification, the $1,000 allocation, is that coming out of Councilmember Andrews' account, or is it coming out of all of our budget?
It would be my account. It would be my council member budget.
Okay, so I think the intent when we did it a couple of weeks ago for the, yes, for
The reproductive,
donating
right?
to the Reproductive Services Agency was, I think, an even distribution from all of our accounts. I think this one, Councilmember Andrews has requested that it specifically be unspent funds allocated for her use.
Yeah, that's the way I understood
Yeah.
it. Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right. With that, you didn't have. Okay. With that, on the motion by Councilmember Andrews, seconded by Councilmember Marquez, Madam City Clerk, will you call the roll?
Yes, Madam Mayor. Councilmember Andrews.
Aye.
Councilmember Lamnin.
Aye.
Councilmember Marquez.
Aye.
Councilmember Salinas.
Yes.
Councilmember Wahab.
Yes.
Councilmember Cermeño. Mayor Halliday.
Yes.
Thank you.
And the motion carries with 7 aye votes. So with that, we have finished earlier tonight than usual. I don't know if that has anything to do with other things that may be going on tonight, but about the election, I will just say I have no idea what's happening, but I want to congratulate all of the candidates for stepping up and running for public office, and just wish them well. And our next meeting, we will be having a special meeting. It's a second Tuesday, but we will be having a meeting next week on June 14th at 7 p.m. here and on Zoom. And with that, this meeting is adjourned.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night, everyone. Thank you.